What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank y'all very much for tuning in. Really appreciate each and every one of you. This weekend, we got round 6 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship going down in Seattle. And you guys know the lineup. We're going to get into a preview video today, and this week, we're going to dive into Kawasaki versus KTM as we had some controversial rider swaps between the two teams. And it's time to start asking, who was right, Chase Sexton or Jorge Prado? Is the Kawasaki that bad? Is it Sexton struggling, or is it the bike? Way more questions than answers at the moment. Then we'll get into sound testing and what the hell's even going on right now. Feels like there's been more infractions than ever this year. Then we'll take a quick look at the weather forecast for this weekend as we're heading to Seattle in February for a Bold Strategy National. And then, of course, as we always do, we'll get into our track breakdown, our virtual POV lap, and my predictions for what I think's going down this weekend in Seattle. But before we do all that, as always, got to give a huge thank you to my channel sponsors, as they're the ones who help keep this thing going and help me get to all the races I get to. So please do me a favor, guys, and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Serious Studio, who can take care of all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further than there. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep us going. So if you're supporting them, you are literally supporting me. And also, I'm doing the TV announcing for the GT Arena Cross series on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 with Daniel Blair. Here's the airing schedule. Would really appreciate it if you guys would tune in. Not only will entertainment be guaranteed in your contract, but it'll also help me keep my job. But thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoy today's video. Alright, first topic of conversation for this week is Kawasaki versus KTM, or Chase Sexton versus Jorge Prado. Who was right? Is the Kawasaki that bad? Are Sexton's struggles self-induced or related to the bike? Who the hell was on Jorge Prado's bike last year? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous? Sorry, I got a little carried away there. That's a song reference for some of you guys that may not have got that. But seriously, this is becoming a tough watch for the poor guys in green. They had Prado absolutely quit on them last year, which was obviously a horrible look for the team and the brand, and now the very same guy who embarrassed them last year is maybe embarrassing them even more this year by what he's doing on the KTM. George is gone, Jorge's back, and the world-class rider that we came to know from MXGP is officially here. KTM also grabbed the late career legend that is Eli Tomac, and they've already had great success with that as well, so all things are looking up for KTM. But on the flip side, Kawasaki now has the near SX champ from last year, Chase Sexton, and things are not exactly going super great. They did get a win at Anaheim too, but everything before and after that has kind of been a bit of a mess and all over the place. From fastest qualifiers to blown main events, rare bad days of qualifying and bad starts leading to insane rides, hitting the gate, and then whatever the hell happened in Glendale, it's been quite the confusing national. Chase did say he was sick in Glendale, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, but if he doesn't turn this thing around like yesterday, then he is in major trouble for the championship, and with every passing round that Chase struggles and Jorge crushes it, things continue to look worse and worse for Kawasaki. I'm definitely not willing to say that the Kawasaki sucks and the team isn't good and all this and that. I mean, Chase did already get a win on the bike, and he's kind of been notorious for struggling to find a setup over the years, which is kind of exactly what's going on right now. I'd almost be willing to bet that this would be happening to Chase in a transition to any other team and any other bike as well. It's kind of how the dude is. He's searching for a feeling that's hard to find. And no hate on that. I mean, that's part of what makes the guy elite. But at the same time, Chase's complaints about the KTM are somewhat being invalidated by Jorge Prado and Eli Tomac every weekend. So this kind of makes you wonder if it's a Chase thing and not a bike thing. And I know that the Kawasaki was clearly not good for Jorge, but I don't think it's fair to judge that bike based off anything that Jorge Prado did on it. I mean, he didn't even qualify for Budds Creek. It's clear he wasn't trying, and we never really got a true gauge for how good he was on that bike. But when talking about who was right between Jorge and Chase, it's pretty much impossible not to pick Jorge right now. He's rebounded like nothing I've ever seen before after an awful season last year, and he sure is loving the bike that Chase seemed to hate. Another thing to consider is that Prado has really only had big issues with one team, while Chase's issues have appeared to follow him around from team to team and brand to brand. Chase handles his issues about 1,000 times better than Jorge does, but he has seemed to have them a bit more consistently and on more bikes. I really hate to say this as a Sexton fan. He's a rad dude and an unbelievable talent, but from the outside looking in, it's kind of looking more and more like a Chase problem rather than a bike problem. If these issues continue throughout the season or maybe even longer, then I could possibly be pushed in the direction of thinking it's more the bike rather than Chase, because at every team he's been at, he has eventually figured it out good enough to at least get tons of wins. I'm just not there yet, but damn it, the guy's running out of time if he wants to be champ this year. And I'm running out of good things to say about Jorge now that he's trying. I cannot wait for outdoors. Next up, let's talk about sound testing and what the hell is going on right now. We've seemed to have more infractions this year than ever, as we had Prado lose points after the main event at A1, Volan lost points after after a main event. A1 had an insane amount of post-race and post-qualifying infractions, and then we had the same thing this past weekend. I don't quite understand what's going on. It's not like the bikes have all of a sudden gotten a whole lot louder, have they? And why are we even doing sound testing anyway? I'm going to go ahead and say that Supercross is a little bit quieter than Monster Jam, so one would think we're all good to go, right? I actually think the need for sound testing comes from the fact that OEM bikes need to be sold while meeting certain sound requirements, as noise is a big issue for tracks if there's anyone in a 0.6 or 9 mile radius of them. I can respect things being done to try to help the sport be sustainable in the long run and in general, but why are we holding professional racers and machines to the same standards as the average Joes? I can't quite make sense of that, and then something I can make even less sense of is the fact that everyone goes through sound testing on Friday at the race. You have to pass to be able to get on the track, but then random people are tested again after the qualifying sessions and the races. But why? If you're running the same exact exhaust that pass sound, then I just don't understand the need for this. They mark all the exhausts that pass so they know which ones they are. And on top of that, being inside the stadium post-session is a much different environment than being outside testing on Friday. So, in my unknowledgeable opinion, and I've got to emphasize unknowledgeable, I'd have to think that that would change things in terms of sound levels. Plus, we have guys revving their bikes post-race and blowing the packing out of the exhaust, which I think happened to Prado at A1. So I do understand the need for quieter bikes to be sold to keep the sport sustainable, but I don't quite understand sound testing for professional racing, especially in outdoors, and I really don't understand the need for testing again after the bike's already passed on Friday. Seems a little bit overkill to me, but my main point here is that I just don't understand it. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I just don't know it. Maybe I can find out more info on this for another video, so stay tuned, but as of now, I don't have a clue. And then, as we head to Seattle, a weather report's kind of got no choice but to be in the contract, as it's sketchier than kindergarten artwork to go to Seattle in February, but it's really not going to be nearly as bad as it could be. All it's really going to be is almost as cold as an Eskimo's living room. Between now and race day, there's only one day of rain in the forecast, and it's only 0.2 inches, so that's nothing, especially for the SMX track crew. And speaking of the SMX track crew, they're in a bit of a predicament this week. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl, so there was a big celebration in the stadium yesterday, and they didn't even get to start building the track until that was over. So they're going to be rushing it at the National, calling bilingual, but we'll have to see if maybe there's going to be some modifications to the track map, but the weather shouldn't be too bad. But now we'll go ahead and get into the track breakdown for Seattle for the original layout before any revisions are made, if they even make any. And here we go for our track preview, track breakdown for round 6 at AMA Supercross this weekend in Seattle. Got to start right down the middle of the stadium. Not a super long start, about 2/3 of the length of the stadium or so. But the first corner, a long sweeping left-hander, none of this double apex national stuff that we've had the last couple of weeks. But right off the start, then you're into your first rhythm of the track. I think off the start, the line will probably just be a 2, 3, and then a 2 into the corner. Then you got your first 180 bull corner of the track, a left-hander. Then you're into another rhythm section, back-to-back rhythm sections. And this one's the exact same setup of a rhythm that we had last weekend in Glendale. I'm thinking the fast lines are either going to be 2, 3, 3, and then rip across the start straight and single out. Chances are it'll probably be built different, so maybe you could go 3 out of the corner, then triple again, double across the start straight, and then single out. Or if they build it similar to how they did in Glendale, maybe you could even go 2, 2, 3, and then double across the start straight, but it all kind of depends on how big that last single is going to be and if it's even worth it or not. We'll see whenever we get there on race day, or if this is even the layout. I don't know, but then we got a 180 bull corner to the right, back across the first corner into the finish line, and then immediately after you land the finish line, you got a small 3-5-3 pop triple. And this is going to be really technical because that triple is right into this bull corner, and it's not quite a full 180 bull corner, and we don't have a berm throughout the entire corner because it rips back onto the start straight after that corner, so it'll be technical tripling and making that corner and cutting back onto the start straight. Doing that efficiently will definitely be key, and this is also a section where we could see some disastrous smashes. I mean, imagine if Vince Friese has anybody in his line of sight when he goes 3-5-3 right there. Somebody could get sent onto the starting gate. But then you're back diagonally across the start straight, the short way across it, and then you're into another bull corner. Not quite a 180, maybe like a 130 or a 140. I don't know. I don't have my protractor on me. But that puts you into a very small rhythm section, either a double-double or a triple-single. I think triple-single could be pretty technical because the angle of that berm isn't super ideal, but like I always say, we'll see how they build it on race day. But then you're into another 180 bull corner to the left this time. I love all the bull corners on this track. We're going to need a lot of nets. But that puts you into the Supercross triple, basic yacht, right in front of the fans. And then you're into your whoop section. Like we've had the last several weeks, I like how this whoop section allows you to carry some serious speed in there. It'll show who's willing to send it and who's not. In an ideal world, it could help you set up for passing. You know, maybe you scrub the Supercross triple really hard, put a little bit of extra spice on the sends or the whoops, and you can make a block pass in the next corner. But at the same time, it's a left-hander before and a left-hander after, so one could probably just guard the inside depending on how the whoops form and kind of cover it, but you never know. We'll see how it goes. But out of the left-hander after the whoops, 180 bull corner, then you got a basic triple onto a table tabletop and then a step off. But I say basic, that could be another tricky one, especially with how it's built and how the dirt is more than likely going to be the corduroy pants national with ruts everywhere in Seattle. So we may see both of those combos, but then you got another bull corner, another one where the berm doesn't quite go all the way around the corner, then you're back across the start straight past the first corner, and then you got a sand single into a long sand sweeper. And the track crew is usually pretty good about it. I'm sure we'll see at least an inside and an outside groove through there with some singles on the inside and maybe no singles wide open around the outside with the trailer park girls. But out of the sand, then you got a little option single and a double back across the start straight, or you can just go around the outside, double and send back into the first corner. But that puts you right back into that first rhythm on the track. I think on the regular lap you'll triple in, then triple again and single out. Maybe if anybody's got some massive balls, you could go 3-4. It'd be cool to see. We haven't seen too much quad god action so far this year, but that's a lap around round 6 in Seattle this weekend. If this is the layout we even get, stay tuned to all that. I don't really know yet, but now that that's out of the way, let's get our virtual POV lap by way of MX Simulator out of the way. And you know we're going to get sketchy. Let's get it. And last but not least, my predictions for what's going down this weekend at Seattle for round 6 of Supercross. In the 250 class, I'm picking Hayden Deegan for the win. I'm running out of reasons to justify it. I just haven't really found a reason not to pick him for the win at this point. So I'm thinking everybody's going to be in the danger zone. They're going to be caught up in it. Then for second, I'm going to go with Levi Kitchen for the hometown race. He's due for another good one. Hell, he got second last weekend after starting like a whole round down. So I think he's clearly the second best guy in the class, and I think he'll get himself a second. Then for third, Max Anstey's got to be due for a rebound at some point, right? I mean, it has been a rough stretch of races for the Brit. It's hard for me not to put Cameron McAdoo on the podium. I feel like I'm going to end up regretting that because he's got like 69 of them, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm picking Max Anstey for third. Then in the 450 class, I'm going to go with Cooper Webb for another win. I mean, he got the Triple Crown win without a main event win, but Seattle, these are his kind of conditions. It's going to be soft, it's going to be rutted, and he's going to be turning down, cutting underneath all the ruts, and I feel like Cooper Webb gets another win and claws himself even closer into this championship fight. Then I got Eli Tomac rebounding after a bad Glendale. I think he gets himself on the box in the second spot. He's always good at Seattle too. I feel like this will be a big test for he and the KTM, but I think he's going to pass it and get himself the silver. Then in the 3 spot, another podium for Hunter. I had a tough time actually not picking him for the win because I feel like he's just bound to get it at some point, but I think Coop and Tomac are just going to have a little bit more in the tank than Hunter this weekend, so I'm going Webb, Tomac, Hunter for the 450 class. But who the hell am I? By all means, please let me know what you guys think in the comments and let me know your predictions, but that's all I got for you guys for this week's video. Please let me know what you thought about it, if you liked the video, if you agree with my takes, if you disagree, if I'm just a cooked unit, or anything in between. You guys know the deal. We're here for all of it. Well, like I said, thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video without choice.